Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review. Next up is the Hasbro G.I. Joe Classified Series Target exclusive Tiger Force number 55 RECONDO. So this is just now hitting stores. Pre-orders online are supposed to ship out about January 13th. I found mine at a local Target store. So it is pretty cool. I'm trying to do and get through as many G.I. Joe figures. I have like 20 that I haven't opened, I haven't reviewed. So I'm going to try and get through as many of them as I possibly can. So expect shorter reviews, like if you've already seen Bazooka, which I filmed literally just before starting this one. I don't know kind of what interval I'm going to have to separate them out on the uploads from the go lives. But I'm going to go through these as quickly as possible. I won't do any kind of comparisons or anything like that. I'll show you the articulation, show you the accessories, and we're going to quickly move on. So here we have the Tiger Force logo. So you can see RECONDO there, number 55 up at the top. We get the artwork for RECONDO there, and then the artwork on this side looking pretty awesome there, like the helicopter and the sun set there. The insignias for RECONDO, the back of the package, we get the look at the Tiger Force packaging. Again, exclusive to Target. And with that, we go right to the figure and the accessories. Okay, so here is RECONDO out of the package, and you know what? He is pretty cool. There's definitely a lot of new things going on with this figure that I really like. His accessories, we'll take a closer look. He does have a backpack, as you can see here. It is just done in a dark green color, and then you have this rolled up blanket there, which is brown in color. It is all part of the same piece. It looks like it was probably just glued on there with green straps around. That looks pretty good. Peg there to put him into his back. We get this big huge knife, as you can see there, a nice silver color for the blade. That looks really good. The hilt of that knife is just a black color, but I like the silver on there. We do get this small little Glock handgun, and that looks pretty good. Sculpted nicely. It's always cool to see realistic guns. We get another gun here, which has either some kind of tape or something that's wrapped around on those certain spots to give it kind of a look. I know I've seen that, I don't know, pictures, movies or something where they do that in certain spots on the guns, and you can see that. Otherwise, it's all black. You get that light gray for those wraps in those certain spots, and that looks pretty good. It's a tiny bit warped, as you can see. It's a little bent, not that big of a deal. And then we do have a hat for RECONDO, and you can see there is a little bit of brown accenting on that hat, but it is sculpted nicely, as you can see. So we'll see how that fits on the figure right now. Okay, so here's an up-close look at RECONDO, and he's got a crazy handlebar mustache there. The paint apps on him are they're gonna be kind of iffy on the ends of the mustache on how much of that brown paint actually hits the mark on that sculpted mustache, or if it's just kind of off the mark a little bit. And you can see there it is a little bit, not that big of a deal. It's kind of like here on his watch. Like if you look at the side of the watch, you see skin tone color instead of the color of the watch. So it's kind of similar to that. Doesn't look the greatest, but it's not that bothersome, especially if you look at it just here. It's just, you know, certain angles on the side. When you look at it, you're like, oh, that looks kind of ugly. But it looks pretty good. We get brown and green, not brown and green, green and yellow for the pants to kind of represent the Tiger Force, kind of have like the tiger stripes going on there. The boots look really good. They are two-tone, so you get a little bit of a darker brown in there along with the lighter brown. Those look really good. And then it looks like we could store most things on his person. So we have the holster for the gun. We got a sheath for the knife here on his leg. And then he would just, you know, hold the rifle, and then the backpack's going to plug in. So let's go ahead and port that backpack in there. It doesn't look like there's any storage on the backpack itself, but put it on there. He can wear his hat. And excuse me if I make sure I get this on correctly there. You have RECONDO's hat, and that looks really good. Fits on there nicely. You get that Glock. You can actually just holster it right there in front of him. We have the knife sheath, which goes in there like so, nice and easy. Yeah, that looks good. So far so good on the storage. And then he has his main weapon, this rifle piece, which looks like we're just going to have to hold on to him because he doesn't have any kind of holster or anything like that to actually put it on his person. So you just have to have it in his hand, and he does have trigger finger hands, so you can actually get him to hold it just fine, as you can see there. And put his hat back on him. And here we have RECONDO. So now let's go ahead and take a look at his articulation. Okay, and before I forget, you actually can remove the magazine, the ammo magazine there from the rifle, so that is pretty cool. Just this little piece, be careful you don't lose that, and it just ports right back in like so. It does kind of clip into place, so you're not going to lose it. His hat does keep falling off though. I can't really get it to stay on there. Maybe I push it down a little bit more. But yeah, there he is. That looks really good. So now let's go ahead and take a look at his articulation. So much like all the G.I. Joe figures, the neck is actually a separate piece. So we're going to get a couple of different ways to articulate him. So he can only look up that much, unfortunately, but he can look down a fair amount as you kind of move that neck that's on a ball joint in that torso to get it to kind of move down. The head itself is on a dumbbell joint, which doesn't allow for a whole lot of movement going up or down, but you can get some pivot going on in there. Unfortunately, the neck doesn't want to really move around so much. It's almost like it's on a hinge as opposed to a ball joint. Unlike Bazooka that moved around quite freely, you can't use his neck as much, but you still can get the head to go into certain pivot points there. The arm you can get to go up and out a little bit there, upper full rotation at that shoulder. There is a butterfly joint, so you can actually go back quite a bit on there, much better than Bazooka's was. But forward though, it's going to be like hardly anything. You're not really going to get any crossbody going on there, unfortunately. It looks like I do have a little bit of sloppy paint there where it's missing just a little bit of black paint on that rolled up sleeve, but you know, not terrible. You get the upper bicep swivel in there. You get a double jointed elbow, which is pinless, as you can see there. This looks like a new arm, which actually looks kind of thin. You would think he would be a little bit more muscular, but these arms don't really show that. But you do get a nice bend there at the elbow, wrist swivel, and they do have the vertical hinge because they are trigger finger hands, but they are quite stiff to get that hinge going. So you want to be careful with them on that. And then we have an ab crunch on RECONDO, so he can crunch forward a whole lot. He can go back quite a bit there as well. Let's see. There is a swivel at the waist. It's a little bit tricky to kind of work around this belt piece. Actually is kind of cool because if you look at the belt piece, it actually shows part of his shirt, the bottom of his shirt there, instead of it being tucked in, which is kind of weird because he's got a belt right up underneath that was painted nicely. So you're supposed to cover it up, and it makes it look like his shirt is not tucked in, as you can see there. And there's a little compass there, and that looks pretty good. But yeah, you do get a swivel at the waist. It's not really a ball joint, so you're not really going to get any tilt or anything going on there. The legs do have the drop down hip feature, as you could see there. So with that, oh, you got to watch out for that blade. That'll get in the way. You can do almost the full splits, but that works out really well. He can kick forward really high, which is good. You do have an upper thigh cut in there. I mean, you get a twist at that hip. I don't know if it's supposed to twist around completely like that. That's interesting. Looks like I might be getting some paint rub, so you want to be careful in there. And it could be just because this thigh swivel is just very stiff and just doesn't want to turn. So I broke the right one free. There we go, on the left. So he does have the thigh swivel, but man, that's pretty wild that I could do that with the leg. That's pretty crazy. It looks like we have new pants here because these are pinless, so we have new pinless legs, which give us double jointed knee there at the leg, as you can see there. I'm sticking with the right since he doesn't have the sheath. The sheath on the sheath side just kind of gets in the way a little bit. It is very stiff out of the package, so you want to be aware of that. There we go. Kind of freed it up a little bit, so you get that much bend at the knee, which works out really well. You do get a boot swivel there right under the pant leg. Unfortunately though, the foot doesn't have a whole lot of hinge. Oh, there it goes. So it freed it up a little bit because I was actually like pulling that boot out, which is kind of scary. So foot hinges all the way down. Let's see how much hinge we can go up. I'm kind of bending the plastic a little bit. You want to be careful, but you do get some hinge up on the boot. Peg holes at the bottom of the feet, and you do get a nice ankle swivel, ankle pivot there. And there we go. There is RECONDO's articulation. That works out really well as long as you keep that belt down. But yeah, he actually looks really good in terms of a figure of the Tiger Force. I really like the Bazooka figure because it moves around pretty well. I mean, the ab doesn't have a whole lot of movement. Definitely more on this guy. But I think I really like the way this guy looks and kind of his loadout. So you got the handgun, you get the rifle with the removable magazine, you get the big ass knife, which is really cool. And the fact that you can, again, like with most of these figures, you can hold all of the weapons and all of the accessories on the figure itself. He's got a sweet hat, as you can see there, and then the backpack. I really like it. You let me know down in the comments below. What do you think of RECONDO? Do you have a pre-order? Expect it to ship soon, or has yours already shipped? I think I seen on Facebook somewhere that someone's already shipped. But hey, it's hitting stores now. Target's going through new toy resets. You might be able to get lucky and find a store. You guys let me know if you were able to do that in the comments below. If you guys like this video, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. Hit that join button to become a channel member and be a part of the MCU Collective. And as always, oi, he fell down. Thank you for watching.